I'm going to review the website Epic. Epic is free online books offered to children ages 12 and under. There are two different sites for Epic. One is for parents who are required to subscribe for $5 a month. However, if you are an educator, educators get Epic for free. The only difference between the two is when parents subscribe, they get access to all 10,000 books that are offered on Epic. Teachers that get it for free only have access to thousands of books, so not in the tens of thousands as the others. You can create up to 36 profiles, and you can read anytime, anywhere. So this is a great way for teachers to add an online library collection to their class. So let's get started. I'm going to sign in to the account, and it automatically comes up. It saves my information, and it automatically signs you in as a guest. Now, because I've already created my account, I need to switch my profile, and I need to go to mine, which will always ask me for my password. So now I'm into my teacher profile. In my teacher profile, I have access to all the books that the students would have access to, whether it's young books that are read-alouds, whether it's nonfiction books, whether it's just graphic novels and comics or chapter books that are offered. There is so much that you can choose from that kids should never have a problem not finding a book. You can challenge yourself to the amount of books you want to read in a week or in a month. You can search for books that are of interest to you. So for example, if we want to look for Scaredy Squirrel, here are all of the Scaredy Squirrels that are offered in Epic. And then on top of that, other books about squirrels too. You can browse your selections, which just takes you back to your recommended pages. You can look at the books that you are liking and what you have read and not read yet. And then you have your account page. In the account page for the educators, you have a couple of choices. You manage your account, which saves your passwords, has your account information. But that is also where you need to go to log out, and logging out is important. It also has educator resources, which just talks about flyers. It has flyers and examples of what you can send home to your parents. So we're going to create a new student for my Epic account. So we're going to type in my student. You need a first name and a last name or a last initial. Parents' email is not a necessity, but what they do require is a 4-digit PIN number. So if you have younger students, that can be tricky. Teachers will have to decide how they want to deal with that particular issue. So I'm going to type in a PIN for Fido to save, and I'm going to create Fido's account. Now, if I click switch profile, it will automatically switch into his profile. So I don't want to do that just yet. And then you have the option to look at his reading log. You can edit the profile. You can delete the profile. So when we go back to my browse, I'll show you an example of how a book looks. When you go in, if you wanted to look at a nonfiction book, the graphics are great. It tells you your age level. It tells you how long it should take about to read it. And it gives you the accelerated reader level. That is good in our Regina Catholic system because they do use the accelerated reader program. Regina Public, there is a way of converting that number so that you know what the oral reading record number is. So here you have your table of contents. It's everything that you would basically see in the book. And so when you go through, the pictures are very nice and colorful. The text is easy to read. You can hook it up to a projector so that all students can see. So down here you have different reviews of the book that were given, and it gives them just their first names. And this is the activity on this book. When you go to the top, it pulls down a menu, shows you how far you've gone into the book. You can give it a rating on stars. If you do the drop down, you can add it as a favorite. You can look at the book activity, which is down here. And the other thing it offers you is the copyright page, because that wasn't allowed, that was not in the first part of the book. So once you're done, you can just click on the X, and then that gets saved into your profile. Preferences is where you can set your age, what type of books that you like, and then other different interests that you have. They do have books in Spanish, unfortunately, no books in French. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to log out of Madame Rose profile. Now here's where it gets difficult. Yes, you can have up to 32 students. And if you have devices and multiple computers in your classroom, the teacher has to set up Epic on every single one of them. When a kid logs in, they have to log in through their teacher. So they'll type in the teacher's username, or the username and the password will already be saved onto it, especially on the website. But when they go to sign in, and now that I'm logged out, this will show up. Kids cannot see it. It does ask to remember. You hit login, and it automatically again takes you to guest. So the student has to go in and change that profile. So they have to know to switch the profile. They have to know to go click on their cells, and here they have to type in their PIN, which is why it is good for them to know what their PIN is going to be. So now we're back onto Fido. So Fido can choose to challenge himself. He can search for books. He can browse different books that are available. He can switch out his preferences. So right now Fido has no preferences, no age selected. So he's just kind of getting a gamut of everything that's there. And so he can look and go through. He has no particular books yet, so apparently he's recently read those ones, but those might be from somebody else. And then he has access to his account, which isn't much. How many books he's finished, how many hours, pages, Epic reports received. Now, the big thing here is they have to be able to switch their profile. He has to sign out, because the next kid that goes onto that laptop or goes onto the website or the device, it'll pop up as him. And if they don't notice that, then they will have access to that account, unfortunately. That's one of the downfalls to this site. So now let's look at some of the terms and conditions for this website. When you look at the terms of service, it's very much not user-friendly to read. And it is a very standard usage of information. You do have to be 18 years of age to sign up for it, but that would be the teacher or the parents. You could be provided with a unique ID, but you can change all that within the settings in the account. There's a section for subscription members, but if you're doing this as an educator, use the free one. It has your license, that it's not transferable, but it is worldwide, so you can access it anywhere. It asks you for your conduct, to keep it as safe as possible. Although there aren't many places in there that you would go in to make comments or reviews. However, it might take issues if you type in something inappropriate for the name that shows up for activity. There is ownership and restrictions of use. So everything belongs to Epic, which is expected. So there's content availability, depending, and this was interesting, service provides its users with access to books and other content streamed through the internet to certain devices. The availability of these books and other content may change from time to time and from geographic territory and territory, for reasons such as publisher deals and available internet bandwidth. So it would be interesting to see in the States what you might have access to compared to Canada. You can terminate at any time, and they can terminate as if you violate any of the terms. There are links for third-party applications, but only offered to parents or teachers. And then it just goes through the rest. which is, again, not in very easy terms to always understand. So up top, they had a link to their privacy. And their privacy policy is that they're glad to have you, but you have to understand that you are using books. So they do data collection and personally identified information is there. Parents and teachers will be asked to provide email addresses. This is the type of identification that they need in order to give you information. And I do regularly get emails from EPIC about new books that they've added online or new features that they do receive. There is something about children's privacy, and they do collect personally identifiable information from parents, but not from their child, meaning there are no email addresses that need to be associated with the child. Any children under the age of 13 must do so with permission from a parent, which is interesting because if the teachers are signing up, then it must mean that they have to get permission from parents first in order for their child to be online. There is data usage cookies and data automatically connected. And there's the security, because there is personal information collected, especially with emails. And then there would be changes to policy. So it's a very standard privacy policy. So I really, really, truly enjoy this website, and I think it would be great for any classroom, especially seeing as our classrooms tend to grow bigger, we get less room. The first thing tends to go is the library. Here is a great way for you to add 10,000 books or less, or thousands of books that students can access on the go from any device that you have in your classroom.